Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Yapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sajarachara Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vedya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Jai Guru. Yata sarvani bhutani pratibhanti stitani cha yatraivo pashamam yanti tasmai satyatmane namaha. Let me see if this text had something to do with class. It's Wendy. Let's see what she says.
I actually feel so grateful that it's nothing serious. The universe is taking care of me just fine. Hands pressed together. Red heart. Hands pressed together.
Okay. It's nothing serious for Wendy. Good to know. So where are we in our text?
Chapter 10, number 5960, page
Chapter
108.
10, number 5960.
What page is that?
It's page 108.
Oh, no. Should I start?
Please.
Santyajya sa pratyena dehotman dehot hamiti yasthitihi bandho hi vasana bandho moksha syat vasanakshayah vasanam tam parityajya mokshathitvam api tyaja. That state or condition which regards I am the body should be renounced completely. Bondage by mental impressions is indeed bondage. Liberation is the destruction of mental impressions. Having abandoned that or the above mental impression, give up also the desire for liberation.
Yes. So the prior verses were talking about take on the state of the yogi, which can be I am everything, all of this is me, I am the self. Or you can take on the state I am the unattached, uninvolved witness, nothing is me, nothing is mine. But give up the idea I'm the body, or the body plus the personality. Now, whether or not Shankara drew it from this text, or this text and Shankara drew it from some earlier text, in verse 267 in Viveka Chudamani, the tail end of the shloka. The annihilation of the vasanas here and now is considered liberation by the wise. So this is what needs to be done. So Swamiji used to use the metaphor of like a balloon filled with helium or hydrogen. And it's tied down by these tiny little silken threads, but there's millions of them. They keep the balloon tethered. Those are our vasanas. So we snip, we snip, we snip, we snip. What's the snipping? Give up my attachment to all experiences gained through the senses and all notions of self that are personal, starting with the body up to and including Brahma, the creator. You never know when it's your last attachment. But when the last vasana is snipped, the balloon rises. And so what happens to a balloon when it rises in the atmosphere? It expands and expands and expands and eventually pop. And then the balloon. So that's what happens. The mind effortlessly enters into samadhi. And the individuality is gone. Gate param, gate parasam, gate bodhisattva. Gone, gone, completely gone. Gone, completely gone beyond. Fully awake. Wow. So what is it that we need to do? It's not about gripping the mind to a silent state. It always boils down to viveka vairagyacha. Keep discriminating and let go, let go, let go. Simple but not easy. Any thoughts on this? Remember, a vasana has two powers, avarana shakti, vikshepa shakti cha. Veiling power and projecting power. Veiling power, the non-apprehension of my essential nature in the mind. Projecting power, jiva bhavana, the world of Vishaya, and Kartavya, struggle. All right, going on, next verse.
Tamasi vasana purvam tyaktva vishayavasita maitriya di bhavana namni grihana malavasana. Having abandoned first tamasic mental impressions, that is, those of the nature of inertia, ignorance, and darkness, steeped in the objects of the senses, take hold of the stainless mental impressions called the feeling or attitude of friendship and the like.
So there's a gradation. In the beginning, we start off, we may be depressed or shut down or filled with lethargy, caught up in revenge and anger and despondency. So we cultivate shubhaj, auspicious desires, cultivate kindness, friendliness, truthfulness, straightforwardness. etc. And then in the end, even those are let go. Finally, at the end of the practice, we even give up the mumukshu, the one who's striving for liberation. We hang on to the mumukshu until the mind has gained sattva, till it is pure. Then we even let that go. In the end, don't try to be a realized person. Know that you are Brahman. They are not the same thing. Any thoughts? Going on.
Ta apyanta parityajya tabhi vyavaharannapi anta shanta samasteho bhava chinmatra vasanaha. Having abandoned even those mental impressions internally or in the mind, and though acting with such attitudes, be possessed of the only impression or idea of pure consciousness, with all desires abated or pacified within.
So, what is bondage? What is liberation? Both occur to the mind. Bondage is nothing more than the deeply rooted conviction caused by ignorance that I am the body plus the personality, that I'm incomplete, that I'm spiritually impoverished. I'm not enough. There's not enough. There is no other liberation than the deeply rooted conviction, the impression in the mind that I am Brahman, based on direct experience. The self doesn't get realized. Self is changeless. It's the mind. And we don't just mean through repetition, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. It doesn't work that way. Stop the mind. Get out of the mind. Quit believing the mind. See the world like a dream, like a hologram. Next verse.
Samyaptha parityajya manobuddhi samanvitam sheshe sthira samadhano yena tyajyasi tatyaja. Then, abandoning even that, mental impressions or idea of pure consciousness associated with the mind and intellect, and finally, steady in deep contemplation on what remains, give up that by which you give up the various mental impressions.
Yes. So in the end, we even give up any subtle practice. Let the mind just be stupefied. So our knowledge can't be just from the neck up. This is the quiet intellect. has to be below the neck, I like to say. And all sense of effort and struggle has ceased. You give up all questions, all doubts. Going on.
Samadhim ath karmani ma karotu va hridaye nasta sarvastho mukta evottamashayah. Let him then perform or not perform either action or yogic absorption into the undivided being consciousness. He in whom all prop or support has vanished with the mind is indeed liberated and has attained to highest abode.
So, after you have been established in the bliss of samadhi, I'll give that up too. It's just a mind state. All supports are gone. In 2015, when I was in Jaipur hanging out with Bhuvaneshwarananda, my friend Dave Datsguru, they had a ritual that when people would come, they would, as prasad, give you little bowls of fruit. And for some reason, they decided I should have a bigger bowl, special. I don't know if it's because I was an American or Swamiji's disciple, who knows, whatever. So, it was a nice gesture. So I'm there every day and I'm eating my little bowl of fruit. So one day they were handing out the bowls and they didn't give me the big one. They gave me the same size as everybody else. That's fine. I don't care, eating the fruit. So Guru Dev, that's what they call it. No. To get the big one. And I says, oh, Guru Dev, it's not necessary. I'm too fat anyway. Besides, you've given us Maunam Prasad, the gift of silence. And he goes, Shunya Prasad, the gift of emptiness. Why get caught up in a piece of watermelon when you can have the peace that passes all understanding? And then he'd turn around and take care of the various vyavahara, the business of the ashram, just like he was so empty, as was Swamiji. As was Swamiji. It was delicious. Next verse.
Naishkarmyena na tasyartho na tasyarthosti karmabhihi santyakvasanat maunat rite nastyuttamam padam. For him, there is no signification or purpose by inactivity, nor is there any sense or purpose by actions. There is no excellent abode except that silence with all mental impressions abandoned.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful poetry. So there's nothing to be gained by the cessation of action. There's nothing to be gained by the actions. So again, going back to Vivekachudamani, we have this long section at the very end of the book is their prarabdha for the saint. Nope. The mark of the man of wisdom is he knows he's not the body. Karma is only a condition of the body. So he or she has no prarabdha. Only the body does. But the body itself is something conjured by imagination. Can there be cause and effect for the horns of a hare or the child of a barren woman? No. So the teaching of prarabdha is for the ignorant to explain the fact that they see the Mahatma moving through the world like an ordinary person or not. So for you and I, if you're rooted in knowledge, let the hand of the Lord move your body, mind, intellect where it's supposed to be. With the clear understanding that the maintenance of the body, the conditions of life, will impel activity, the desires of other people. But there's no big outcome anymore. If you must have a goal, try to be useful. Not every realized person has the karma to be a teacher. Listen very carefully. Nobody can hang out a shingle and say, I'm in the guru business. The students create the guru by their desire, by their love. Next verse.
Na kechana jagadbhava tatvajnam ranjayantyami barhyas patya kacha purvam samadhe utthito jagao. None whatsoever of those worldly ideas or modes satisfy the knower of the Supreme Being. Formerly, Kacha of the lineage of Brihaspati, risen from yogic samadhi or absorption in pure being consciousness, declared as follows.
Going on.
Kim karomi kva gacchami, kim grihami tajami kim, atmana puritam vishvam, mahakalpambunayatha, na tadasti na yatraham, na tadasti na yatmai, kim ayat abhivanchami, sarvam sanvit mayam sthitam. What shall I do? Whither shall I go? What shall I take? What shall I give up? The universe is filled by or complete with the self, just as by the waters of the great dissolution at the end of the universal cycle. There is not that place where I am not.
Yeah.
There is not that object which is not in me. What else shall I wish for? everything is full of or consists of pure consciousness.
Yes. Nothing more to be done. And then circumstances of the body's interactions will impel you. A desire may arise. If you must have a worldly goal or objective, be of service. I'm very fond of a prayer by Father Michael Judge. Lord, take me where you want me to go. Let me meet whom you want me to meet. Tell me what you want me to say and keep me out of your way. Very good advice. Going on.
ये हि राघव सत्वस्था रमन्ते शिष्टवर्त्मनि समा समरसा सौम्या सततं साधुवृत्तयः. Raghava, Rama, those who are established in sattva, harmony, knowledge, and light, take delight in the way of the virtuous. They are equal in all circumstances, of equable disposition, gentle, and always of good or virtuous conduct.
Yes. So there are those of us who aspire to these virtues. This is mixed sattva. But these qualities appear spontaneously in the woman of knowledge. It's not a practice. Why? Her nature is love because she sees the self everywhere. It is the nature of the person of steady wisdom to alleviate the suffering of others. It's what they do. Excuse me. Next one.
Tesham padam mahabaho nugantavyam hi sarvada koham katham idam cheti pratnena vicharyatam. Mighty armed Rama, their footsteps must indeed be followed always. Who am I? How is this visible universe born? Thus, let it be investigated with effort.
So at the beginning of the text, I talked about the three questions that this text drills down on over and over again. Who am I? What is this physical universe? And how has it come about? Who am I? Aham Brahmasmi. Chidananda Rupaha. My nature is bliss consciousness. What is this phenomenal world? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Brahman alone is real. The names and forms, the Jagat are illusion. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All this is verily Brahma. Well, how have the names and forms come about? Sankalpena, by means of imagination. There's nothing solid. It only appears that way. Going on. Is that the end of a section?
One more verse. Tamasi rajasi chaiva jatimanyam api shritaha swaviveka vashat yanti santa sattvi kajartitam. Those good men who have clung to or are united with the class or species of tamas or inertia, ignorance and darkness, and rajas or activity, passion and agitation, or even others, attain to the state of the sattvika class or those possessed of harmony, knowledge, and light through the power of their discrimination.
Yes. So going back to Shankara's qualifications of a fit student, it is a literary device that whenever a list of things is given, the first is usually, not always, but almost always, the most important. Brahma Satyam Jagan Ityeti Rupa Vinishchayaha Soyam Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka Samudharita. That firm conviction in the intellect that Brahman alone is real and the phenomenal world is mithya, illusion, unreal, is considered discrimination between the real and the unreal, the eternal and the non-eternal. Bhartels. All right, going on.
The concluding verse.
Oh.
Iti Shri Vasishtha Sangrahe Dashura Rupokpakyanam Nama Dashama Sargaha. Thus ends the 10th chapter titled The Story of Dashura in the abridgment of Yogos.
Pretty good.
Ekadashaha Sargaha, chapter 11. Janakopakyanam, the story of Janaka.
Oh, this is fun.
Section 1. Siddha Gita Shravanam, the hearing of the song of the sages.
Yes.
Vasishtha Uvacha Samastham Khalvidam Brahma Sarvam Atme Damatmatam Aham Anyad Idam Chanyat Iti Bhranti Tyajanadhya. Vasishtha said, Sinless one Rama, all this is indeed Brahman, or the Supreme Spirit. All this which is spread is the self. Give up the confusion. I am another. This is different.
Yes. So that's the work to be done. Again, this is an abridgment. He just cuts right to the heart of it. You are Brahman, that's your essential nature. And all this is Brahman. Yeah, but I see stuff. Yes. Just like images appear in the crystal, but the crystal undergoes no change. So all this appears in Brahman. Yet Brahman undergoes no change. I can go to Twin Peaks, face the ocean, and hold up a mirror. I can look and see the entire downtown of San Francisco, a city in a mirror. But has the mirror undergone any change at all? No. Bimba, mirror, pratibimba, reflection in the mirror. Brahman is kutastha, solid, still, immovable like a mountain. Vijnana Ghanam, as Mandukya calls it, a homogeneous mass. awareness and consciousness. Next verse.
तते ब्रह्म धने नित्ये संभवन्ति न कल्पनाः यथा प्राप्तानुभवनात् सर्वत्रान्नभिवाञ्छनात् त्यागा दान परित्यागात् विज्वरो भव राघव. In the eternal and deep or unfathomable Brahman, or the Supreme Spirit, which is spread, thoughts or imaginations do not arise. Raghava, Rama, by experience suitable to circumstances or as incurred by the absence of wish or desire everywhere or at all times, and by the renunciation of both taking and leaving or receiving and resigning, become free from the fever or anxiety.
Yes. So the presence of these afflictions, these kleshas, is what obscures my capacity to realize my own essential nature, the nature of the universe. All I need do is give it up. It's like the fog on the mirror after you take a shower. You don't need to remove the fog, steam, and then add your reflection to the mirror. Let's get rid of the fog. Oh, there's my face. Just quieten the mind. Or as Swamiji used to thunder and freak people out, shut up and get out. That's what we're to do. Stop the mind and you stop the world. Going on.
यस्येदं जन्म पाश्चात्यं विद्या हि विमला तथा आर्यता हृद्यथा मैत्री सौम्यता मुक्तता ज्ञता समाश्रयन्ति तं नित्यं सर्वे वाञ्छन्ति तं जनाः. To whom this birth is the last or final, whose knowledge is indeed stainless or pure, and so are his nobility, cordiality, friendliness, gentleness, freedom, and wisdom. Him all people desire or seek for, and to him do they ever go for refuge.
Yes. So that's certainly a truth in India. Not so much here. We go to the one with the biggest bank account, the one with the most Bitcoin. Is that what it's called? Bitcoin? Cryptocurrencies. The one with the yacht, the mega yacht. I thought it was so funny. I guess Elon Musk and Donald Trump have had a falling out.
Yeah.
And I just, God forgive me for laughing. But it's like two schoolyard kids. The way they're social media tweeting and truth socialing at each other, you know, power and all those sorts of things. None of it in the end makes us happy. Trump has insomnia, and Elon Musk is on drugs for depression. How's that working out for you? Come on. Next verse.
एष तावत् क्रम प्रोक्त सामान्य सर्वदेहिनाम् एष एव गुरु प्रोक्तात् अनुष्ठानात् शनैः शनैः जन्मना जन्मभिवापि सिद्धिद समुदाहृतः. This course or spirit of spiritual effort, which is common to all living beings, has just been explained to you. This itself is declared to be the giver of spiritual perfection gradually or slowly during a single birth or through many births on account of the practice told or explained by the spiritual preceptor.
Yes. So there are many paths up the mountain of truth. Some are more direct, some are more indirect. We never criticize any of them. We are led to this particular practice or that practice by our own intuition. It's the God within us that leads us. And again, you look at someone like Ramana Maharshi, deep, deep realization with a half an hour of sadhana at the age of 16. But we have no idea what happened in his prior life.
He also meditated for a long time afterwards, right?
Yes, he did. 11 years in silence. But the point being, maybe he practiced a whole lot in a prior life, got very close, but did not realize himself. Or Amaji, or Ramakrishna. So you cannot measure yourself against another person. That is absolutely pointless. All you can do, if you must measure your practice, is how do you feel compared to yesterday, last week, 6 months ago, 6 years ago? It's the only valid comparison. And just like anything in this world, those who have a passion for it and are willing to work for it tend to get the fruits, but not always. Sometimes we're led down byways that are not fruitful, or we meet a teacher who really isn't fit. It's our karma. Going on.
द्वितीय स्वात्मनैवाशु किञ्चिदव्युत्पन्नचेतसां भवति ज्ञानसम्प्राप्ति आकाशफलपातवत्. Secondly, to those whose mind or consciousness or reasoning faculty is somewhat perfected, the attainment of knowledge occurs quickly just through one's own self or intellect, just like unexpected fall of a fruit from the sky.
Yes. So if you have a sattvic temperament, you don't have a lot of vasana and ignorance. There are those blessed souls who do have spontaneous realization. Just a little bit of sadhana. But most of us, a man or woman of knowledge appears. And if we're really devoted to it, it doesn't take more than a couple of years, 2.5 years, of really steadfast, dedicated sadhana. You don't need to be in an ashram. It can be helpful. But you have to have the momokshutva, the burning desire for liberation. You've heard me say self-realization is not difficult, but it's very rare. It's very rare not because you need secret mantras and practices and need to be in the Himalayas. It's very rare because nobody really wants it. I want the world more. That's the price tag. That desire to give up attachment to all experiences gained through the senses. It's the price tag. All right, next one.
Atredam shrinu vrittantam janakasya mahipate ekadopavane ramye ekante vicharasah tatra shushrava sanchanne siddhai gita mahatmabhi. In this matter, hear this story of King Janaka. Once he roamed over a solitary and pleasing grove or forest. There he heard the songs sung by high-souled sages who were hidden.
Yeah, so were these corporeal beings or sages hidden in the trees, chanting mantras, singing songs? Who's to say? It's poetry. Now, we have 3 different versions of the enlightenment of King Janaka. We have the one we have here in Yoga Vasishtha. We have the one we went through in Tripura Rahasya, and the one we're studying now on Monday nights in Ashtavakra Gita. So let's see what happens here. He's out in the forest. He hears the song of the siddhas, the sages, going on.
Trishte darshana trishyani yatva vasanaya saha prakashanam prakashyanam atmanam samupasmahe. Having given up the seer, the seeing, and the seen, along with mental impressions, we meditate on the self, which illumines or makes known all that is fit to be materialized, to be manifested.
So this is what the sages are singing. Just a condensed version of all that we've learned. Give up the seer. I am not a person. The seeing, those are just means of knowledge, sensory data. The seen, it's only the mind appearing as the world of name and form. Give it up. Know you are the witness of it all. Pure awareness. Going on.
Sarveshvastitham hansam ucharantam upasmahe santyaja hritguhe shanam devam anyam devam anyam prayanti ye te ratnam abhivanchanti tyaktva hastha kaustubham sarvasha kila santyajya phalam etat avapyate. We meditate on the Hamsa, the Supreme Spirit, which abides in all and issues forth as the universe. Having abandoned the Lord or ruler of the cave of the heart, those who set out for or seek a different God, they long for a gem abandoning the precious Kaustuba in their hands. Having indeed renounced all desires, this fruit or spiritual realization is obtained. No, there's a note. Cave of the heart signifies the essence or core of one's being. Kaustubha is the celebrated mythical gem worn by the god Vishnu on his breast.
Yes. And the Hansa is a pun in Sanskrit. It's the mythological bird that flies us to the infinite. But aham sa means I am that. Sometimes the word order is changed, soham. So Hansa is contracted form of aham sa. Going on.
Utvapyanta vairasyam ya padharteshu durmati badnati bhavanam bhuyo naro nasau sagardabah. Even after having known their absolute insipidity, that stupid person who again fixes his thought upon objects of the world is not a man, he is an ass.
Yeah. So after having been kicked in the teeth over and over again, how many times have I said, who got upset this week? Tell me this is the first time you felt that way. Aren't you tired of it? And the metaphor, we says, is an ass. You know, we think of an ass as somebody that's just stupid. But have you ever watched, I don't know what you call a stallion donkey?
Like a mule?
What?
A mule?
Mule is a hybrid between a horse and a donkey. Anyway, the virile boy donkey, when he smells that the she ass is in season, his lip curls back, and he follows her, wants to put his face right in her behind. And she's not ready to mate. Guess what she does? Kicks him right in the face. He goes, and then he goes right after her again. And she kicks him again. He does over and over and over again. And she keeps kicking him in the face. It's very funny to watch. Then when she's finally ready, he mounts her. But that's the image that he's saying. That's you and me. We go after these experiences over and over and over again. Like that stupid ass, that stupid donkey. And what does the world do? Kicks us in the face. Let me try one more time. That's the world. It's you and me. Until finally, a little bit of sanity dawns on the mind. Why am I doing this? Over and over and over again. I mean, I was talking with a fellow the other day, a gay guy, and just addicted to the apps. grinder and scruff. Keep wanting to hook up. And then they get, what's the term, ghosted? Is that what it's called? Where people, they don't show up and they don't respond. Disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. 4 or 5 hours doing this or more. Then the next night they try it again. For what? For what? Or, bless her heart, my sister-in-law, QVC, is that the channel? Yes?
I don't know.
The shopping network.
Yeah.
She's got more junk stuff than you can imagine. Oh, that looks so good. Buy that. Such is life. No blame. Until we begin to say enough. Like a donkey chasing the she-ass. Next verse.
Utithan etan indriyarin tatha punah angai angan samakramya anyat samyak punah punah prashantam manasa swasmin bhavatyeva sukhe sthitihi. Let him completely destroy again and again these enemies in the form of the senses which have risen or grown in strength again and again, subduing the limbs by the limbs, that is, by conquering the senses. For one whose mind has been calmed or subdued, there arises the abidance in one's own happiness.
So, Shama, this idea that again Shankara talks about, that peaceful state of mind when it rests in steady contemplation of the goal, after having again and again, muhur, detached itself from the chaos of the sense objects. How? Through a steady observation of their defects. Doesn't mean the body is bad. Money is bad. Having a house is bad. The defect is when I'm under the illusion that more, better, different is going to give me peace, anything enduring, some happiness, as opposed to a momentary hit of pleasure. But you have to be woke to see what's going on. Next verse.
Ithi siddha ganai gita, gita shrutva mahipatihi, vishadam ajagamasau, akulau vilalapacha. Thus, having heard the spiritual songs sung by the group of sages or perfected ones, that King Janaka fell into dejection and, overcome by grief, lamented as follows.
So the first stage is when I get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I see the vanity, the repetitive nature, the boring nature of the way I've been living life. I may not be able to stop it all at once, but why am I doing what I'm doing? And then, of course, in America, oh, I know what the answer is: a red sports car and a young toy boy or a young trophy wife. Let's see what happens to Janaka as he enters into this grieving.
Section 2. Janakasya Prabodha, the awakening of Janaka. Aparyantasya kalasya kopyansho jivyate maya tasmin bhavam nibandhnami dhinma adhama chetanam kiyan matram idam namam rajyam ajivitam mama. A little portion of the unlimited time is lived by me. I fix my thought on that. Fie upon me on the meanest might. Of what measure indeed is my sovereignty, which lasts till the duration of my life?
So he's a king. Maybe he's going to live 60, 70, 80, maybe even 90 years. But that's so short. I'm a king with all these toys and power and stuff like that. But suffering is suffering. And he says, fie on me of meanest mind. I can only share with you when I was in the ashram doing my sadhana, the same state, not with all the stuff of the king. Mudha. There you are wanting again, Jim. Wanting. It's so painful and so stupid. Buddha, fool. It's my nickname for my mind. Going on.
Kotayo brahmanam yata gatas swarga paramparaha prayata pam suvat bhupa kadriti mama jivate. Crores or 10 millions of Brahmas or creator gods are gone. Gone are the successions of heavens. Kings have passed by like dust. What constancy is there in my life?
Yes. And I can only tell you at 77, a lifetime goes by in the blink of an eye. And again, what Shankara says, he is a great fool who's had the great punya, the merit of attaining a human birth and having the yoga balam, the virya, the strength to do practice, who's been exposed to the Sanatanam Dharma, the eternal truth, and turns away and squanders this life in riotous living. For what? Only the Egyptians took a U-Haul to the graveyard. All the rest of us, nothing. Going on.
Ajnane kahato balye yauvane madanahatah sheshe kalatra chintartha kim karotu kada jadah. Frustrated or impeded solely by ignorance in childhood, struck by passion in youth, and afflicted with the anxiety for the wife or the spouse in the remaining period. What may the idiot do and when?
So, as a person moves through life, the causes of my misery, my grieving shift, but not that I have the grieving. In the West, we have the very common notion youth is wasted on the young. They're young and beautiful and full of energy. And why are they ruining everything by being so self-absorbed and miserable? So funny. Finally, you get some wisdom, and then you get sick. Body parts start falling off. Go into it. Going on.
Sato satta sthita murdhin ramyepya ramyata sukheshu murdhina dukkhani kim ekam sanshrayamyaham. Non-existence is situated on top of existence and ugliness on top of the beautiful. Pains are on top of pleasures. Which one shall I depend on or resort to?
Yes. So I like to say you've got a choice. If you're young, you can either have a young, hot partner, or you can have a long-term relationship. You can't have both. I promise you, in 50 years, your partner, if you keep the same one, is going to be an old, saggy body. Whatever joy we've had, it passes. Everything does. Going on.
Yesham nimeshanonmeshao jagatam prayodayao tadrisha purusha yanti madrisham gananaivaka. Even those persons whose shutting and opening of the eyes are the dissolution and the rising or appearance of the worlds pass away. What is the account merely of people like me?
Yeah. So the great gods who, the Brahma, the creator, opens his eyes and the world appears. He closes his eyes, it disappears. Or even of a yogi who can go into deep samadhi, but then he has to open his eyes and he still has to make dinner and go beg for food. No escape. All right, this is a good place to stop. What verse are we on for next week?
21.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om.